Welcome to the McCord List. Today on the McCord List, I am Rachel McCord, and I am so excited, you guys, because today's episode is filled with so much inspiration. If this is your first time on the show, welcome. I'm so excited. You guys, you can just call me your talk show bestie because we are all about helping you live life and live it to the full. Whatever you're going through, wherever you come from, I want you to know that you were created for such a special purpose. I am an open heart surgery survivor, and I am the first one to tell you, as someone whose heart has been started twice in her lifetime, that you have a purpose. The fact that your heart is beating in your chest tells me so, and I hope you feel that and you know that, and I hope today's conversations inspire you to feel loved and encouraged with whatever you're facing right now. Our first guest, Crystal Luster, is amazing. She has been a social media phenomenon, you guys. She's amazing, but more than just the fact that over 2 million people obsess about her and follow her on social media, she is this beautiful person who talks about navigating the ups and downs in her life. Today, she is going to talk to us about her faith journey, her business journey, and what advice she has for us on how to grow our voice and to share our story and make a huge impact in the world. And then, you guys, I'm really excited because Liz Swatek is coming in, and she is amazing. She is an author, a coach, a mastermind crusher, helping you figure out where in your heart there are some diamonds that need to be identified and need to be pressed in with. So I'm so excited to talk with her. And then, you guys, the show will not stop there. We have model and sports superstar Kayla Ray coming in, and also one of my good friends, Catherine Gordon, who is the author of Grit Relationships. She's amazing. She's going to talk about what she has done in her marriage to find a relationship that is better than ever, even facing some pretty tough betrayals of trust. I don't want you to miss this show. I'm excited you're here. I'm Rachel McCord. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the McCord List today. Hi, I'm Rachel McCord, executive producer, host, and creator of the McCord List today. Welcome back to the McCord List. Today, I'm Rachel McCord, your talk show bestie, and I'm so excited, you guys. We are about to get into it. Faith and the journey of being a TikTok phenomenon. Miss Crystal Luster is here. Hi. Hi. I love you. Okay, so first of all, we met at the Emmys event with Shaka. Yes. Love Shaka Smith. He's been on the show before. Mm-hmm. I love him and got to meet you and hear more about your story and how you have just been inspiring people all over.
Yeah, well, first of all, shout out to Shaka, who is an amazing human, and I'm so grateful for the introduction. And this journey has just been so crazy. It's amazing what God can take and use to inspire people, like the craziest things. And so I'm just super grateful and blessed to be able to use my story and the things that I've experienced, whether it's the mundane or just really significant, to help other people.
So tell me some of these mundane or significant things that God has been using in your story to just help you find your way.
Okay, so this is gonna be funny. All right, I first went super viral online talking about boobs. Right,
boobs?
Exactly, boobs. Because I just went on a rant one day about how crazy it is to have them and how inconvenient they are. You know, just woman stuff. I'm just talking to my girls, didn't think anything of it. Next thing I know, 1 million views. And people are like, oh my gosh, I relate to this so much. I found my tribe. And I'm like, oh. And it opened the door for me to like really lean into my humorous side, which I am naturally an introvert. And so I wasn't used to necessarily sharing those things because I thought like, oh, nobody wants to hear it. And as I went through different things in my life, grief, I've lost my sister, grieving the loss of a marriage, going through a divorce, moving to a new city. I'm only 8 months into living in LA. And that was kind of a death of sorts, of leaving the place that raised me. I find the funny things, I find the humor in it, and it's helped me cope as I've grown and learned through all of these seasons of life. And just sharing that with people, they feel more seen. They know that they're not alone. And that's really been the truest blessing of it all.
I love that. That's so inspiring. And I feel like it's such a great reminder for all of us, right? When we find our opportunity to be inspiring. I always think about, we have a digital marketing agency, so we do a lot of influencer campaigns and collabs. But I always talk to people when I go and speak places or do my shows. It's like, it's about just being fully who you are in the mess of it, in the ups and the downs, and just being real and raw in that experience to share that with the world. And it sounds like you're doing it. Started uniquely.
Very unique. I never in a million years would have guessed that that's would have gotten me on the map. But literally that video, it just took off on every platform. And next thing I know, I was doing stand-up for the first time ever, a secret dream that I'd never told anyone about, in Vegas because of that video. And the people that I've been able to meet and connect with, and just being down to earth, being approachable. And I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, you know, in this influencer economy and this influencer world. It's easy to get lost in it because you're trying to get the likes and to get the comments and the engagement and the brand deals. But at the end of the day, where's the impact? I want the impacts because that's what matters. That's what gives it meaning. Otherwise, I'm just a machine producing content.
That's so true. I talk about that a lot too, like how important it is to think about what are you really influencing? Like, what are you really shifting? Because if we look at culture and we're like, hey, you know what? I want to be a part of this generation. I want to make an impact. We have to think like, don't just like want to have the views, want to have the platform, but actually ask yourself what message you want to share in the world. Now you have over 2 million people who follow you. You are very popular. I see why you're doing all these cool things that you didn't see coming. And you wrote this incredible book that talks about this guide to help you really like learn about engagement on TikTok. So can you talk more about how you've really built your platform and what advice you have for someone at home?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be revamping that guide, but it's talking about virality and really what the keys to virality is. And at the end of the day, the biggest key that I can ever give anybody is consistency. That is the cream of the crop for me, and the proof in the pudding is that I show up when views are low, when the trends are not trending, when the algorithm is not being kind. I show up every day, and it is hard. It can it can wreak havoc on your mental health if you feel like success is equated to follows and likes and shares. I've gone through seasons of losing followers. I've gone through seasons of videos. Like right now, I'm almost at 1 million on TikTok, and I have a video that's sitting under 1,000 views that's been up for a couple days. And I had to really take a step back and think, is that because of me? Or is it the algorithm? And if it is either of those, what's the most important thing? And it's the impact. And so what I always drive home whenever I'm coaching anyone or telling anybody about social media and influencing is that you have to remember your why, and why you're doing this will carry you through those low points. Because if you have a solid why that's not based on variables that are out there, then you'll last. Otherwise, if your why is, I want likes and shares, the minute that you don't get that, you'll give up. And I also talk about quality, but also quantity, right? So that goes in line with the consistency. Yes, you want quality production. Clean your lenses. Something as simple as that. A lot of people start with their phones and they think, well, my content doesn't look like other people's. I need this big expensive camera. If you don't have money for a big expensive camera, don't buy a big expensive camera. And that's okay. Use your phone, but clean your lens. Make sure that your background is clean or fun or intentionally messy, but not just, messy for no reason. And make sure people can hear you, because those are different things that we unknowingly check out when we see fuzzy images or if we hear a lot of background noise, that kind of thing. And then, like I said, the authenticity is really the major key in alignment with consistency. I'm not the first person to do what I do. I'm not the first person to do reaction videos or to talk about silly things, but I'm the only person who can tell my story. And showing up authentically and being yourself, that is your secret sauce in anything you do.
That's so powerful. And I love how you speak with such authority on the topic, because you've been there and you are speaking with authenticity and you're sharing that with the world. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your faith journey, because I think that is a big question for a lot of people, is like, can I share all parts of myself? Yeah. Is there, is my social media supposed to be a business card? Is it supposed to be a Rachel card? Or, it's like you want to be real. So what advice would you have, and what can you say about your own faith journey and how you share that?
I love that question so much. And this is honestly the main reason why I was so excited to be here today, because that is something that's near and dear to my heart. So as a creator, I'm not what you would call like a Christian content creator. So I don't create content that's strictly Christian or faith-based, but people know my faith walk because I interweave it. They know it by the fruit of who I am as a person in my life. And so when I first got into it, I was a little intimidated by it because it's not traditional. And I did do traditional ministry for a while. I was a worship leader for 10 years. I did praise dance for 10 years. I was very ingrained in the church. And then one day I heard God tell me that I was called to the unchurched. And I'm like, okay, that's fun. And then I heard that he was calling me to do something that was unconventional and exciting at first, but then scary because people who are true traditionalists didn't understand what I was trying to build. And it seemed wrong because of the shame that was associated with doing things out of the norm. But the more that I got into it, the more that I realized this truly is ministry, which goes right into alignment with impact. And so an example in my personal walk, the funny videos that I put out started attracting people who were looking for something, and they didn't necessarily know what they were looking for or why they were led here, but they felt like it helped. And so some of my favorite messages, I love to tell this story. There was this young lady who reached out to me a few years ago on Instagram, and she said, hey, I've been going through a really deep depression for several months, and I came across your page and I laughed for the first time in a while. And I got to have this personal conversation with her, and I said, hey, I understand. I've been there. I'm praying for you. Is there anything else you want me to pray for? Just a few weeks ago, I got a message from this wonderful man named Dan, and I pray to God he's still with us. But he said, hey, I have terminal cancer, and my wife spends her days finding funny videos for us to enjoy while I'm getting treatment. And we found yours, and we've been laughing for hours. My wife almost peed herself, and I just want to say thank you. And having walked through the cancer journey with several of my loved ones, some have lost and some are still here, but it really solidified for me that I'm called to this work for more than just likes and shares, for more than just being silly on the internet, but to help people. Laughter is a gift, it is medicine, and it is a door to help me open up a bigger conversation. How's your mental health? What are you doing to take care of yourself? Are you living the life that you're supposed to live? And so that's how I've been really navigating my faith walk in this, and really seeking God for, okay, this is your platform. You gave me this community. What do you want me to do with it? How do I connect with people and live out the purpose you've given me in this unorthodox way, without conforming to things that don't align with what I'm built for?
Wow. Crystal, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your heart and your story and your light with the world. Mm-hmm. I have a similar journey. I started a faith-based merch brand, and I was like full on doing that. And I felt like God was like, nope, like I want you here rooted. So I see you in that. And I'm sure there were some moments where you're like, are you sure this is what you're saying to me? So thank you for moving in faith. Thank you for coming on the show today. I love you, and I cannot wait to have you in here more, hopefully.
Yes, please. I love you too. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, you guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the McCord List today. I'm Rachel McCord. Welcome back to the McCord List today. I'm Rachel McCord, your talk show bestie, sitting down with the author who is just blowing my mind right now, Liz Swatek. Hi, how are you?
Oh my God, you said my last name right.
I did
we just praise the Lord in this moment?
Hallelujah. Let's high five.
Only person who's ever said my name right.
You are so precious. Well, everyone needs to, girl. They need to find their diamonds. They need to say your name right.
Absolutely. Say my name.
Say my name. No big deal. Thank you for being here. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful story. You have a best-selling book. You gave me my book. I'm so excited. And you are helping so many people find their way. So let's take it back to what inspired you to go on and inspire so many people.
Well, that was not the prettiest time in my life. Let me just say, well, this is what's funny. You know, you can't choose your ministry. Because if I was going to choose my ministry, it would be the ministry of fabulous and perfectionism. It would be like, oh my gosh, she's so fabulous and she wears pink, she's amazing, right? That's not the ministry that I got. So I think, from some of these dark, dark moments in your life, you never know at that time, as you've been through so many things yourself, that it could actually be a diamond in your life. So I hit the wall at 49. And it looked on the outside like everything was perfect. I had a nice house and I had kids and I had a nice husband and I had a nice job. And still, I thought, this cannot be it. There has to be more. But I denied that. And I did something that's really common that women do, which is I used gratitude against myself. Rather than using gratitude as something amazing and emotional and positive, because it really is a frequency. Gratitude is a frequency. It's a vibration. I used it to shame myself. You should be grateful. You're not grateful enough. You have a nice husband. You have a nice house. You have a nice job. What's wrong with you? And I used it to shame myself. And then I couldn't see what my legacy was. I couldn't see what my calling was because I literally used it to limit myself. So once I started working on myself and discovering all the tools that I teach women now, I slowly started to see that I was using gratitude against myself, and I was able to let it go and actually see what my legacy was.
Okay, I am so happy you started with that because, first of all, I mean, so many of us do this. I've done this over and over again, and it's so interesting because at New Year's, I was struggling in a little funky state. I just had a big life shift, and I wasn't ready for it. And I have gone through open heart surgery, and in that journey, I learned more about embracing the spiritual side of the walk, which is kind of what you're leaning towards, right? Like,
exactly.
when we're saying, oh, you should be feeling gratitude, it's like, well, because of a house and a car, like that's not the thing, right? But I was so grumpy, and then I was starting to ring in the new year, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. And I just started saying, I'm so grateful for this little thing and that little thing. Instead of being like, I shouldn't have been, I wasn't being.
Yes.
But it was interesting because it changed my mood in time to ring in the new year with a good attitude.
Thank God. Thank God. You don't want to start the new year like that, although we sometimes do. We get really we're like, oh God, it's a new year. I think it's interesting. I think gratitude to me is emotional. Like, I could get emotional about Zoom. I could be grateful for Zoom because guess what? When I'm coaching clients that live in Florida, I would have never met this woman. When we're gathering in my mastermind group and they're from Florida and from Texas and from Indiana, and I'm thinking, we would have never met. We would have never come together. And I could literally cry tears about how much I'm grateful for Zoom, right? That's gratitude. What isn't gratitude is denying your calling. And I think, there's a kind of a thing we go through when we're in crisis. We think it's a crisis. It's usually a calling. It's usually not a crisis. It's just we haven't gotten the wisdom yet, right? We haven't really moved through it enough to extract the diamond, that we need.
Wow. Speaking of diamonds, I'm guessing that's your next book because I'm hearing you talk and I'm seeing these moments in my life when I'm at rock bottom and you're exactly right. I remember one time facing depression and telling someone, I think it's all an effing tunnel because he was like, there's another side on the other side of the tunnel. I'm like, I think it's all a tunnel, dude. I think this is like a Ponzi scheme. It's a tunnel,
It's a maze.
It's a maze.
I'm never coming out of the tunnel.
Not to be confused with amazing. Yeah. But then you get through it and then you're like, oh, wow, I never would have. I think that's kind of those moments in life where you realize how small you are in a good way.
Yeah, it's humbling. It's humbling. But, again, humility is not a bad thing, right? Humility is meaning I'm moving into we always want to be the teacher. Well, there's times in your life where you're the student, and you may be a student at 60 or 55 or 40 and be learning about yourself again. And when you have that little humility, you can be the student. You can be curious and not shame yourself, right? Which I think is so valuable, being the student. I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner. I want to learn forever, but sometimes it's humbling when I'm forced back in my student seat.
100%, especially when you're leading masterminds and you're coaching and you're writing books.
Yes.
We feel like we need to be the smartest one in the room, and sometimes the lesson is in that experience. And sometimes I feel like when I'm supposed to help someone, I start getting hit with what they're dealing with the week I'm supposed to help them. And then I start feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm struggling with this. And then I'm like, oh, that's because I'm supposed to speak to this.
Absolutely. I have a son, Landon, who's here today, who is leaving for college. And I've been coaching these women. They're crying. Their kids are leaving. And I'm thinking, Okay, now it's my turn to cry. My kid is leaving, right? So it is true. And I think, the more you experience things, I've been through infertility, I have high blood pressure, I've been through heart things. I mean, I think when you have all these things that you've been through, it actually makes you such a great guide for other people because you can speak to all the things you've been through.
Yes. Okay, speaking of speaking to the things you've been through,
Yes.
you wrote this incredible book and so many people's lives are being impacted by it. Can you talk about it?
Yes. I mean, I wanted, this is what I wish someone had handed me, by the way. When I was at 49 and I hit the wall, actually at 40, I wish I'd had it because guess what? I didn't just hit the wall at 49. There was a slow burn to that 49, right? Of like shaming myself and being confused, drinking too much wine. I mean, all the things. And I think if I had had a manual, if someone had just said, here's your manual, how to live your life after 40, here's all the things you need to do. And so that's why I wrote it. I use my story, but in every single chapter, I have exercises, journal prompts, things that you can use so you can actually look at my story and say, okay, that makes sense. Now, what does that mean for me? And I tell the top things. I wasn't going to talk about some of these. I actually wanted to write one of these books, like, here's how you do it. I didn't want to tell like my things, my kind of dark times. But then I thought, no, that's not, I have to have depth. Like there has to be depth in this book. And so I went there. I talk about everything, even things that really are shocking my friends who have known me forever. So I think when you are able to go to those depths and you show people, look, I'm showing you, I was there. I was in the darkness and I am now in the light. You can do it too. And I wanted to show them how, literally how I did it, because that is what I would want. So it's the book that I wish someone had handed me.
Wow. I can totally relate to that moment when you just kind of feel like, where am I? It was like the beginning of the year, I was about to turn 30, and my grandmother was the last of 5 people who passed away in 1 month. And I just got rocked. And I was like, what is this life? I've had these multiple times in my life where like huge pivots.
Yeah.
But I think about how you're not just telling people how you did it and how they can do it as far as transforming their minds, but you're leading these masterminds and you're helping people with coaching to also be able to see and be inspired that they too could create these. So I'd love to speak a little bit about you as a thought leader and how you're helping with just, sharing your own journey to other people maybe who find their healing and then want to write a book. What advice would you have for someone on that path?
Well, this is why I have this mastermind group, because I have classes, I teach my tools and all the kind of foundational work that I learned. But then when people are with me long enough, then they join this Wise Women Collective, and then I become kind of a hybrid business coach. Then it's like, okay, what is this legacy? What are you here for? Whether it's a TED Talk or a book, and when they see me always evolving, right, and writing and changing and doing the things, making my dreams come true, then they say, okay, that's possible for me. And I think having women as mirrors and mentors, when we're in those safe spaces where we can actually tell you, yes, I'm feeling the fear, this feels uncomfortable, and yet I am still going to go forward and do this, right? And support like that, women need safe spaces. There's only 3 reasons women even get depressed. It's a lack of community, a lack of connection. And by the way, when I say a community, I don't mean a bunch of girls drinking. I mean a real community where people support you and it's safe and you can evolve. And then a community, and then connection, but deep connection, right? Like really, that's what we're craving. Like women want depth, right? And then not following your heart's desire. And I think what's hard is a lot of women don't know, like, what am I doing? And it changes, right? Everybody reinvents 30, 40, 50, 60. So I wanted to give women a path to their legacy, and I use human design. I use a whole different healing modalities to do that, rapid transformational therapy. I use all these different things to really get women to where they want to go. But now I'm offering a Wise Women Collective certification. So if they want to run their own mastermind group, I teach them how to do it. So I want my legacy to be, I can't meet all these women. I can't coach every woman, right? But my book could reach every woman. And then maybe they want to start their own group, and it would just be what a diamond, right? To have women across the country who are having these groups, and whatever they're based on. They could be faith-based, they could be about anything, right? They could be anything. So I think it's a lot of possibility and limitlessness for women.
Wow. Liz, you are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming into the show today. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to check out your show and all the things. Thank you for my book. You're amazing.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Yay.
And thank you so much for tuning in. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the McCord List. Welcome back to the McCord List today. I am so excited to sit down with Kayla Ray. How are you, my love?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here. I love your style.
Thank you.
I feel like it comes from a successful career in modeling and all the fun things. So first of all, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Washington, D.C. Yes.
Okay, amazing. Yes. And you played sports. We're both point guards.
Yeah.
You know, that is the hype. Now, I could not shoot at all. Like I could dribble, I could take the ball from people. One time this is a true story. I was in a game and I was so competitive when we were like at the wire and I needed us to score. Yeah. And I literally got in front of the person like on the opposing team who had the ball and I was like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. I just said it over and over again and she gave it to me.
Oh my goodness.
And I
Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, dude.
It worked.
It's so funny. I don't even know what I was thinking. I was like a kid, but it was so funny because I remember dribbling away like, wow, that really worked.
Your instincts kicked in. Those instincts to win. Like, this is going to work.
This has got something's got to work. Yeah, it was like LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I think life is a lot like that, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, leadership is not given, it's taken unless like God gives it to us, let's be honest, right? But we have these opportunities where we can step in and lean in and you've done that. So you moved from Washington, came to LA because you just felt like it was a better place for you in modeling. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually lived in New York City for 10 years. Started out as a fashion model there, editorial, walked in New York Fashion Week several seasons. Actually also was able to work outside of the country in Cape Town, South Africa, modeling. I went there twice. That was a lot of fun. So I was able to go there and like build up my book and then come back to New York and get signed because it is tough to get signed. I mean, when I first moved to New York, could not get signed to save the life of me. But my first modeling job was for Glamour magazine. So that was a nice little tear sheet, but I had to go to South Africa to get more tear sheets and then come back. And then I finally got signed at the time with State Model Management. They're still around, I believe. And so, yeah, I just did a lot of editorial magazines. I've been in a lot of magazines. I've done New York Fashion Week. And when I went to South Africa, I started doing more fitness modeling, which is where the basketball came in. And that really took off. And it was funny, like I went to college, graduated, and then I started doing the basketball shoots like 4 years later. I didn't like immediately jump into that, but it just like happened like 4 years later in Cape Town because it's more commercial. It's more of a commercial market out there than New York is more like a fashion commercial market, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I was there and really connected with basketball again. So that was great. And then ever since then, I've still been doing it and, you know, doing everything commercial, lifestyle, fitness, modeling here in LA, and everything's been going great.
I love it. Okay, so we have to talk a little bit about the model life. So my sister, when she was 15, moved to South Beach. She dreamed of being an actress, and modeling was kind of the first route for her to do that. So she graduated high school early. We were homeschooled. Moved in a little tiny Honda Civic to South Beach and started modeling there. Then went to New York. And, you know, there is such a life in those model apartments. Like there is like a whole lot
I lived in a model apartment before. I actually lived in a model apartment in Miami. Go figure. Look at that.
That's crazy. Okay, explain to everybody what a model apartment is, because it is a vibe. It is a specific vibe.
It is a vibe. It's a lot of fun because there's a lot of girls there. So that's the part of it that I really, really like because I'm an introvert, but a lot of the girls that you meet in there are really, really super fun. And of course, when you go overseas, like you're going to live in a model apartment, like you're not going to like go and stay at an Airbnb, like they're going to take care of you. So living in a model apartment in Miami Beach was really fun. Like we lived like on Miami Beach, like not too far from Collins Avenue to go to the beach and stuff like that. So just like meeting everyone and just like having fun and always having like comrades right there next to you. Like, what do you guys want to do? Let's go do this. Let's go do that kind of stuff. And so I really actually enjoyed it until I grew out of it, of course. But I mean, I really enjoyed it because you get to meet so many really cool girls and just kind of like bond and vibe, you know?
100%. And you get all those comp dinners and things,
that
girl.
How did I forget?
I remember my sister, this is really funny. My sister went to one of these dinners and she's like sitting down near the host.
Yeah.
And she literally ordered the truffle mac and cheese, which apparently is like a $2,000 dish.
Yes.
And the guy was like, oh, I'd love to try a little of that. And she was like, and like thinking this is my entree.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it's just, you know, with the truffle, it was so fun. It was like, it's so funny because ever since then I always just assumed that truffle was super expensive, but now you can get truffle fries. It's like $10. I was like, okay, maybe it's not the same kind of truffle. Not all
It does
truffle.
sound expensive truffle. Yes, I agree.
But she did not get that clue in before she ordered it. So I was like, oops. So you came out here after New York. And by the way, congratulations. Glamour magazine.
Thank you.
So huge.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I remember I wanted to quit my career so many times. And then I got to do, I was in Vogue for the first time. And it was a week after I was like, this is it. This time I'm really done. My husband started calling it the quit speech because I was always, but you know, this career is hard. You run these ups and downs, and it's
And you
just
become
such a
jaded
journey.
really quickly too, and that like takes you out of the game, and then it makes you want to quit. So I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But how fun to do New York Fashion Week and all the things.
Oh, so much fun. Like I walked in Project Runway shows. I got to meet a lot of the designers. I worked for Christian Siriano, Kato Mamalu, Michael Knight, rest in peace. He was a really good friend of mine, actually. He lived out here. The first time I came out here in 2015, I was, communicating with him a lot and stuff like that. But it was so much fun, honestly. I haven't walked on a runway, honestly, though, since 2019. I kind of like hung up my heels and I've just been doing more like commercials, and finally got an acting manager as of June. So now SAG eligible. So moving more into that lane, and hopefully things will like kick off there.
That's amazing. So fun story. I got to interview Christian Siriano at Magic. I run education innovation for Magic, and so it was so much fun.
Isn't he fun?
Legend.
I love him.
He is amazing.
His personality is just so infectious. Like he was actually one of my favorite people to work with in Runway. Like he is just like he's a character, a good character. He's great.
He is.
Yeah.
So you hung up your heels.
I did.
And what's next for you here in Hollywood?
So what's next for me, I'm still modeling. I've been actually modeling for about 15 years now, and acting for about 7. So I want to really like move more into like acting. And I'm also right now building up my own business in astrology, sports astrology. And it's called Game Time Astrology. I actually have a podcast called Game Time Astrology Podcast. So I blended the two things that I love to talk people's ear off, which is sports and astrology. And yeah, it's been going pretty good so far. I have a TikTok that's really taking off, and I'm able to go live there because I linked up with the Creator Network, and they were able to do something with my profile so I can go live, because I didn't have a lot of followers when they did that. And it's just been growing and growing. I'm just going there, just trying to build something on the side for myself, because while modeling and acting is great, I come to find, since all of these years I've been doing it, that I do need to have something, for myself, like a little business for myself, something that I can like pour into. And this is like my thing. It's like my passion project, if you will.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show today and
Thank
talking
you.
about your beautiful story. How fun. We have so much crossover.
Yes, we do.
And thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the McCord List today. I'm Rachel McCord. Welcome back to the McCord List today. I'm Rachel McCord, sitting down with my friend, author extraordinaire, Catherine Gordon. Hi.
Hi, Rachel. So good to see you.
It's so good to see you. I feel like you and I getting together is like two cosmic stars finally connecting. I'm like, I have been wanting to see you for so long.
And you know, it's crazy. The last time I saw you, you did not have your son, like in person. How crazy is that?
Okay, that is so
I know.
wild.
It's like a lifetime ago.
And you had not yet written your first book.
Right.
Now you are writing books. You are helping other people write books.
Yeah.
You and John, oh my God, y'all, I mean, talk about power coupling. Like power coupling. How has everything been going? Take me back.
Okay, it's great. So that's actually what happened. If you remember, we were going to do a book together initially. So I have to thank you, because really that kind of got my head around the idea of, I'm going to write a book. What happened was, after the kids went off to college, I'm in the grocery store, and I swear I kept running into people who were separating or divorcing or having issues in their marriage. And even though the situations they were talking about were different, there was really a common undertheme. A lot of times it was communication, lack of communication. And I would literally stand there in the vegetable aisle, like counseling people. So I went home to John one day and I'm like, honey, I really think we need to write a book. And that's how Relationship Grit was born. And relationship grit, the title grit, is not just the word, it's an acronym. And it stands for God, Resolve, Invest Together.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
And how many books has John written?
Oh my
now?
gosh.
Can you count?
John has 32 books and 18 bestsellers.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
And this is your first book together.
This is our first book together, and I'll tell you, and we'll talk about this because I'd love to tell you the foundation of what grit means. But what happened with the publishing company, so we started Gordon Publishing. Last year, I had a podcast called Catherine for Real, and it was amazing. But I started comparing my calendar with John, and he was going to all these great places. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to travel with you. But what happened was everywhere we went, every table I sat at, every interaction, somebody had a story. Like everybody had a book in them. And I found myself counseling, coaching, and sharing a lot of publishing advice. And I was like, you know what, we need to do this. And that's kind of how Gordon Publishing was born.
That's
So,
incredible.
Yeah.
And 32 books out of your household, 18 of them being bestsellers. You've really learned this incredible recipe for success that I think so many people struggle with, right? When I wrote my first book, I had no idea what I was doing, but I had we have a digital marketing agency. So we put it out so wide. But now, having had open heart surgery and obviously having a complete transformation as a human being, I feel like this book that I'm writing right now is my first book. It is a story.
Yeah, you definitely need to tell that story. And you know, you're right about when you people write a book and they think, oh, even if it's the best book, you really need to know how to get it out there. That's a huge part of the hurdle. And so that's something that we help people do and coach them on how to do book launch teams and things like that. Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I want to share with you real quick what grit actually means, because I really feel like it's the foundation for any great relationship, and not just marriages, you know, also friendships. I think you and I share this, the G, which is God, and bringing God into your relationship. So I always tell people, this is not a relationship book about, oh, look at me, I have this wonderful marriage I've had for 30 years. You know, it is a book of, we went through hell. And if we could get to the other side, you can too. And so we had a situation in our marriage where I found out that Jade's my daughter, that John had not been so faithful. And so I was ready to leave him, obviously. And it was a confession that he was making from 15 years earlier. Like at the time that he made this confession, he was a very strong Christian, living this great life, and really felt like it was the one thing that he kept a secret with himself and that he needed to share. So when he shared it to me, of course, he thought, oh, everything's going to be fine. That was a long time ago. And of course, it threw us both into complete turmoil, and I was going to leave him. But where the G comes in is that during this time, and I was going to leave him, John was on a plane, and he was literally pouring his heart out to this guy and telling him what happened. And the guy said, you know, I've been in a similar situation. You need a prayer. You need a prayer that you say with your wife every night. And so John came up with this prayer. Do you want to hear it?
Of course. I'm like the edge of my seat.
God, we invite you into our marriage and family to love us, to heal us, to unite us, to strengthen us, so we can grow strong together and serve you together and raise children that glorify and honor you. And John was saying this prayer every single night, Rachel. He was trying to grab my hand, and I was leaving him. But something happened. Like, he continued to say the prayer, and then I started to kind of say it in my head, but I wasn't about to give him the satisfaction of saying it out loud.
Love you.
And this went on for several months. And I was still making my plans to leave. But then something happened. It's like one night I was laying in bed, and when he started to say it, I actually reached for his hand and I said it with him. And that was the night that our healing began.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, you make me want to cry. That's so sweet, because it's almost like you opened up your heart.
And so you have to read the book. I don't want to go through the whole thing. We don't have that much time. But then the R is resolve, because then you have to resolve to stay together. You have to resolve to work things out. you know what they say, the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. So it's about resolving to work it out. And the I is invest. You know, so many times, and you know this, you've got this happening, you've got your son, all these other things. Where do you invest in your relationship? You kind of expect like, well, really they come last. And so it's about making an effort to invest in them and have them come first. And then the T is for together. You have to do it together, which is kind of like, well, yeah, or the T can be team. And that means there's no I in team, right? I mean, you have to both want it together. So that's the premise of the book. Yeah.
Wow. I love that, because when you talk, Catherine, about how you have to really choose to be together and to invest it, and the resolve of just saying, this is my person, because I do feel like in this era where we can binge so much, everything is like ChatGPT this and AI that, everything is like cut, paste, copy, paste, everything. It just feels like in a world where everything's spinning.
Yep.
And it's like when you can just say, I'm just sitting down with my person and I'm doing life, and this is where I am. I'm going to be where my feet are. I'm going to be where my relationship is. I think about too with me and Ricky, like over the years, we've had those really tough moments and those seasons when you're just like, could this just be a moment and not a season, you know? But I think that the resolve for me, when you said that, I really clocked that, because that really spoke to me. I remember a conscious moment when I was like, I am in this. And I am sticking in this, because Rick and I met in January, got engaged in August, and got married in December. Like, we literally knew we wanted to get married the first week we met.
Oh, that's so sweet. And you know, I look back with you, and you're a great example of this, because you guys went through a really hard time. Like when I knew you, you were not able to get pregnant. And it was it was such a yearning. It was so beautiful. Like you wanted to be a mom. And sometimes that in itself can cause issues in the relationship. And you guys got through all of that, got to the other side. And of course, were able to have your baby, which is not a baby anymore. How old is he now?
He's 5.
Yeah.
He's 5.
So,
well, you know, it was interesting for us, you know, where we didn't struggle necessarily with fertility. We struggled with getting on the same page about the timing, because, you know, it was really like this when we decided to have Jude, we literally were like, you know what, like, I think that we love our life, and we're like, yeah, this is great, but I think a kid would be really awesome. Yeah. Then you have a child and you're like, what was I thinking? I thought my life was great. Like I had no context of what great could be. Yeah. And I feel like all the colors came on and it changed everything. But, you know, we had been together for 8 years before we made that choice. And so it was interesting, because I look back in those years, and my husband actually was like, I thought it took people longer to get pregnant. I was like, apparently not in our story, but you know, I didn't know how severe my heart condition was. So the health struggles that I was having in that season were really around me trying to be okay, and then, you know, passing out between giving birth to my kid.
I remember that. Yeah.
That was craziness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this book is out. You and John are thriving. You've got babes out in college doing all the things. What's coming up next for you?
I think, you know, for me, really, it is the publishing company. I mean, we have a training company. We have some other things on the side, but I have really felt such a passion for helping people get their story into the world, because it's about leaving a legacy. Yeah, so this is my baby for right now. And of course, I've got many books, you know, to come, but it all in due time. So
absolutely. I think that's the thing. It's all about timing.
Yep.
Catherine, I love you. Thank you for coming through. This was so special. Thank you guys for watching. That is our show here on the McCord List today. We will see you next time on the McCord List.